a great conversation coming up. And before that, I'm going to actually read out a quote from Mariane Williams. Some of you may have heard this, but I didn't know if there was a better way to start the conversation that we want to. So she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful, beyond measure. It's not our light. It's our darkness that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Yeah? So who are you not to be? A woman product practitioner, a leader, an entrepreneur, and we have two of them here. So I think we have two really trailblazing change agents, like I like to call them, and they have their own specialty of change that they're driving. But I think a lot of questions that we've seen earlier in the day in terms of do you need tech skills? What problems are you solving for? Who's solving the problems for women? We have all kinds of challenges in our journey, and I think we have two women who have been doing this for themselves and for a lot of other women. So very glad to have both of you here. As a quick introduction, Vandana, an ex-investment banker, and she probably likes to call herself turn into a cabbie, and I think she's really driving change, and I like that part of her being a cabbie. She is the founder of TaxShe, and she'll tell us more about it shortly. But truly, I think a change crusader. She also runs different change initiatives, such as Chop Chop Boys, to teach men important life skills. We all agree we need it more than them. Yeah, and Single Sisters is another community for single women. So, she's driving a lot of relevant change. Vandana, so happy to have you here. And Neha is with us, Neha Bagaria. Welcome, an entrepreneur at heart, and a lot of rest, which looks very similar to us. A wife, a mother of two, a Wharton graduate. And she took a career break and now runs a platform that is actually helping a lot of women to get back into their careers and grow in their career. She's the founder of JobsForHer. So happy to have both of you with us today. And welcome. Yeah, they deserve a round of applause, guys. All right, I think we'll start with getting to know your personal journeys a little better, an investment banker to a cabbie. And see, a lot of questions on technical and UX and that experience. So we are going to, crush all of that right now. Vandana, help us understand your journey a little better.
Yeah, so I'm just like any of you, always antennas up in public transport. ये मुझे देख तो नहीं रहा rear view mirror से. ये आदमी क्या कर रहा है, ये बुढ़ाऊ मुझे क्या देख रहा है, right? We all face that, and I think I've been like, okay. But on a very serious note, post Nirbhaya, there was a rape in an Uber in Delhi, and then the headlines came the next day that, if there was a woman driving me, this would not have happened. And that was it. That was my moment of change. I said, I'm a woman, I can drive, and damn, I'm going to do this. And here I am 7 years later running TaxShe, and I'm freaking out for good.
Thank you. No, and we'll talk more about that. Neha, can you, help us just understand what has your journey looked like?
Tech challenges. Okay. No, I think my journey, so like Vandana, and that's why I think this panel is special in today, because you have two non-techies sitting on the stage running tech platforms. Yeah, so yeah, and both of us, we find out we're both from finance backgrounds. I had a lot of marketing as well in the past, which helped later. But really, for me, it was just about solving a problem. I took a break in my own career for 3.5 years. When I got back to work, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm so glad I restarted my career. I started asking everyone around me that, why aren't you getting back? Why aren't you getting back? And then they started telling me all the challenges that they're facing. And I was like, you know what? This is really bad. Okay, this is bad for the women. This is bad for companies. This is bad for India. Let's solve it. Technology just became the way I realized I had to solve it. And then, so here I was. I studied finance, was working in education, then was working in pharmaceuticals, then became a full-time mom, and then a tech entrepreneur.
Fantastic. I think that's great. And two very real problems each of us relates to on a daily basis. And they're in the face and right in front of us. And most of us, experience it. We have opinions about it, and somewhere you need to get started. So, and I'm going to kind of keep this an open question to both of you. So when you're kind of doing this, often people either wait for this big vision to arrive one someday, and then, you know, that vision will come and you start doing it. Or there is inspiration. I mean, how did it work for you? Because you have like really tall vision statements, and I'm going to read those out because I think they're important and they're so real. They'll give you a little bit of a goosebump. TaxShe's vision is to eradicate Me Too for the next generation. Real? Yeah? And what Neha is driving is, how do we reverse female brain drain within the Indian workforce? Now, what came first? Inspiration or the vision? How did you kind of, you know, crack this?
No, the vision comes much later. I think the vision keeps evolving. Many a times, you know that you have a problem that you want to solve, okay? How you're going to do it, you don't know. I think the itch is very high. You should always start with the itch. Like, ab isko aur kitna kuch lao. Okay? And I think the vision really, as and when we started moving and we realized that, oh wow, we had kept so many children safe. So I drive children. I'm not a retail cab service. I literally drive kids to schools and tuitions. And one fine day I realized, oh my God, I've done 1.2 million drives and I've kept children safe. And I think, wow. You know, so I said, okay, so what am I actually doing, you know? I'm keeping them safe. I'm impacting. I'm erasing my own hashtag #MeToo experience, right? And that's where the vision got formed. It's something which kind of really, a few years back when investors asked me, what's your vision? I said, I have no idea. Okay, I just know I need to do this. So I think it takes time for it to creep in.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's what Vandana is talking about, the itch, right? It's really the why, which is at the core of it. And I think that's one thing that really drives you and keeps you motivated, because otherwise the entrepreneurship journey, and I'm sure like any working journey, has huge amount of ups and downs, right? The ups are great, of course. You know, then you don't need that why to motivate you. Just like going to work is a high. But the downs is when that why really matters. And that's what makes you stay to your path and stay to the course and actually make it happen. So for us, like the why has always been that how do we get women to achieve their full potential? Now, how we do it has been, we will do it by connecting women with, you know, with companies and with learning and with community and all of that. And then the what has been, okay, so we'll have a website for it. Now we'll have an app for it. We'll need to make it a hybrid app. The what is something that will keep evolving. But at the core of it, I think the why has been extremely important throughout this journey. And that's really been our big motivating factor.
Yeah, fantastic. And for many of you, if you've noticed, that was product management in action, like in 30 seconds. If you've not picked that already, I think that's the soundbite that there is. And see, you guys are solving problems which are in the face. It's not like a niche or something. We all know it's right there. Men could have solved it. They did not. And we are really in, you know, a main-dominated world.
The men did try to solve a different problem, which is called LinkedIn and Naukri and Monster and Indeed, which was built by men for men. Yes.
Exactly. So I think in this journey, what barriers did you, you know, kind of come across? And were there any different because you were a woman entrepreneur in that journey?
Well, I'll take that. Barriers not come across, barriers coming across.
Sure. Yeah.
But I really think, like I remember in the beginning, once I told my team that, you know, I think our biggest job is actually to change mindsets. Yeah. That was, I think, our biggest challenge in the beginning. It was to change the way we think about women who've taken a break in their careers. You know, how companies look at them. Like in the beginning, you know, companies felt comfortable enough to tell. So when I started, it was just for women on a break. It was completely free for companies to come and post their jobs on the platform. But hire these women who have taken a break in their careers and want to restart. And so many companies told us that, nah, we don't really want to, you know, hire women. We don't want to hire women attorneys. We don't want to hire mothers. And I was just like, what? Like, why? So changing that, and by the way, managed to change that mindset. We started with 20 companies on day one of JobsForHer. Today we have about 9,000. And we have run a freemium model for companies. So a huge number of these companies pay us, okay, so that we can put them out to women like you so that they will come and join their companies. Yeah. So now, and they launch, like we've launched tons of returnee programs which are specifically for women on a career break. So even if you've not taken a break, you can't even apply for it. And companies pay us to launch those returnee programs. So that's kind of the shift in mindset that we've been able to drive. Abhi Delhi bahut dur hai. There's a lot more companies that need to get into the gamut. The other big mindset change was for women themselves. Right? When we started, I was appalled to hear that women were being told that, you know what, you need to hide that gap in your resume. Like, it's like a bad thing that you've done, you know, and don't tell anyone, it should be a secret. I was just like, what? I mean, you took a break to be there for your family, for, you know, a kid, for in-law, parent, whatever that reason was. I mean, be proud of it. And please realize that when you took that break, you gained these important life skills that no job can teach you, and that you'll be able to now bring to your job. So I think changing the mindset of women that, look, this is something you should be proud of and you should flaunt and not try to hide, and that yes, you can do it, was a really big thing. Now today, of course, our big focus has also become, now that, I mean, the women returnee part has finally kicked off, there are enough companies, there are enough women who know that it can happen. Our big two areas of focus are also how do we make sure that more and more women are getting into tech. Because really tech is the future. And if we don't have women in tech, that means we don't have control over our own future. We don't have women who are building and driving products that will be consumed by us women. So how do we get more women in tech and product, of course, and more importantly, how do we get women to rise to leadership levels? Because at the end of the day, if we don't have women at decision-making places, we can't change the workplace, right? And we can't change culture, we can't change policies, we can't change programs. And finally, if only when you have women driving things at the top, they will make sure that they clear the way for all those other women through that journey as well. So,
yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And I'm going to, you know, come back to you, Neha, you know, on the talent side of, you know, the big puzzle everyone is trying to solve. And I'll just extend this, Vandana. Here, it's really, you know, creating job opportunities and employment for people. And, you know, one part of the demography is the demography that Neha is talking about. And what you're doing is, again, creating job opportunities for women, again, in jobs that are not popularly known for women to have. And of course, there is a tech part to it. And like we said, you know, you figure out the tech. I mean, it's a part of the puzzle. What have you had to kind of work through, you know, as trying to solve that, you know, behavioral changes, cultural change, anything else that was needed to kind of, you know, bring that to life?
Yeah, so when I started, very simply, I just put up a Facebook post that, listen, this is what I want to do, and do you know women who are going to drive? And I had 3,000 calls that day coming in that, I need a cab, I need a cab. I said, okay, I'm here asking for women who can drive as cabbies, and here I get, I need a cab, I need a cab. I said, chalo, business to hai idhar. Market ban gaya. I don't need market research.
Product management again, guys.
Then I said, how do the women come into this now? So that's when I became a taxi driver. I said, okay, so if women see, okay, one thodi caliber wali women in this, then maybe they'll start coming. So I think the step started, the fun of being a taxi driver became more as a branding thing. Ki, haan, main hoon, tu bhi aaja. You know, that was how it was. Slowly, women started trickling into the cab space. I used to walk into slums and I didn't know Kannada, and I would catch little children who knew English to become my translator. So I have 5-year, 6-year-old kids walking at my pinky and telling the sabji wali she wants to give you a job. Okay, so that was how change really started. On the other hand, how it has evolved over the years, okay? We not only run a cab service, we also run a training. So we train women customers, the alternate driving school. I train you ladies how to drive your own cars, okay? Now in this, what we started reaching out, so I started training, I had this huge business opportunity out here. I started bringing women in the corporates who lost their jobs. You know, when you lose your job out there and then you apply, Neha knows this, the salary will come somewhere here, highly discounted, and I'm telling women, hey, you know how to drive? In 15 minutes, I'll give you a business venture to start. Literally 15 days of training, I'll give you a business on table. So we started getting franchise partners of women coming in. So this became like a hub and spoke for us, right? The whole model itself is all women just getting together for a much larger impact of safety, right? More women on the road, safer are all of us. And that's the way it's just the jigsaw is fitting and it's working out beautifully.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I think the power of networks, really, and I think using networks for that cohort, in your experiences, I'm sure you've been part of many networks too, and we have a lot of women looking, for, how have you done that, and any advice? How have you been able to tap into networks? If there's any advice, on that side that we can give our audience today, what would be your two takeaways? I'd love to hear from both of you.
No, absolutely. I think networks is extremely important from many different standpoints, right? First and foremost, it's extremely important from a growth point of view. So in the beginning, for example, we used to have a very strong ambassador community in JobsForHer. In fact, Nija was one of our big ambassadors, like our big champion ambassadors. And that ambassador, the whole point of the ambassador community was to make sure that, women who, and like how Vandana said, right, like relatability to that woman. Like these are other women who've also taken a break in their careers. They get it. They understand the challenges and struggles that others are going through. They can then help in motivating, inspiring, guiding, coaching other women around them to be able to get back. And they became like our real, the reason why they were called our ambassadors was because they were our brand ambassadors, yeah, to their local communities, etc. As we grew larger, of course, we started using networking, not just from a growth point of view, but also from an engagement point of view. So when you come to JobsForHer, we realized that, hey, sure, here's a list of all the jobs and all those companies that there are there. Here's a list of all the learning and all the upskilling that you require. But if you still need that hand-holding and that support and that mentorship, here's a list of all the women who are also going through similar phases of life like you. So that's when we use networking from an engagement point of view, where we have different groups. Now the groups also, the way we structured those groups was to make women realize very clearly that, hey, this is not about personal and social networking, this is about professional networking. Yeah? Because again, somebody mentioned today about how women are great at networking. I absolutely agree. Women are fantastic at networking. The problem is they don't realize the value of networking from a professional standpoint. Yeah? They have no problem reaching out to somebody for something about their kids' class or something about finding a plumber, etc. But if it comes to like, hey, can you tell me about the job opportunities at your company? They'll freeze. So we realize that we need to create groups and networks of women around what they do, like women in HR, women in marketing, women in tech, women in AI, so they also feel proud about the kind of expertise that they bring to the table, and they find other like-minded women in those fields, network with them, and then rise in their career. Now, taking it to a different level altogether, we have started a network of senior women leaders called the Herky Club, which is specifically a closed-door club of women who are aspiring to become leaders. And they then get to network with one another and build that kind of camaraderie and support so that they grow together. So I think networks can be an extremely powerful platform, but how we use it, like making sure that our end goal is very clear, that's very important. Otherwise we don't want to have a network out there for the sake of having a network, right? We want to have a network out there that will get women to accelerate their careers in some way or the other.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. But then anything from your experience, you've kind of, been in the corporate world and then ventured to solve this problem. In your, entire thing, any call-outs that you want to kind of add specifically to that, that women don't tap into tools that they have, but they just don't use them?
I think it's, first of all, identifying that you have a talent and you can utilize it. As simple as that. Give yourself the credit, right? Don't wait for other people to tell you what you have. You know what you have, go talk about it, go show off. It's important for you to recognize that, okay, this is something that I can change around. And first think about changing your own life. Okay, I have this, I'm sick and tired of this particular phase of my life. What can I do different? And you know that you have it. So I think most of us look for ratification from outside, right? Okay, kar loon kya? You think people want to, you think my mother would have liked it when I told her I want to be a taxi driver? She fell off a seat. She literally did. And then when I told my brother, oh my God, this is what I'm doing and stuff, he said, how come you didn't tell me to invest in the company? Right? Patriarchy came in and it was a good stamp at that point. But the point is that, when you want to change, whatever thing about your life, nobody is going to give it to you on a platter. Oh, how lovely, do it. No, you're only going to get a no there. And we women know how to multitask, we know how to sweet talk, we get married, 400 new people the day we get married, and we kiss ass everybody, right? We know how to navigate our way, right? Then why not just make the change? As simple as that.
Fantastic. I think this is a conversation which I'd love to do for so longer, but we're going to have to wrap up in 2 minutes. And what I'm going to do is maybe a few rapid fire questions, yes, no, right, wrong answers. We'll just do a few of them and then we'll
no wrong answers, okay? Everything is right.
all fun. No. So, and we'll start with you maybe, Vandana. So your superpower is?
My big mouth.
Research first or customer first? Okay, so, all right.
Is that a question or same question? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Same question?
Same question, we'll do that.
Superpower is my ability to not say no, not to take a no.
Perfect. Research first or customer first?
No,
Guys,
no
research first. I'm going to take that.
No, I didn't do any research. I just jumped into the
All
water.
right. Yeah, no,
You know what they say, right? There's no business plan that survives. It's the first meeting with the customer.
absolutely. Skill or will?
Will.
Perfect. Change to you means?
Shake the world.
I told you, next generation should be laughing at us. What the hell was this #MeToo you all were talking about? They should tell us, kya hai boring aunties?
Absolutely. One superpower you think women should have, every woman should have in her kit. What's that one superpower?
It's not about who's going to let me, it's about who's going to stop me. Ayn Rand.
Guts and guts.
Fantastic. And maybe one last thing. Any call out for all the women out here? You know, any closing words?
I just said, just jump in. Just do what you have to do. Chota sa kaam kar lo apna, jo, you know, that something you've been keeping in your head, I wanted to do this. Do it for 1 month and just try it. Yeah. What have you got to lose? Always think, what have I got to lose? If you've got nothing to lose, go ahead and do it. Simple.
Just do it.
I have a very important call out for all of you, which is that we are really building our product and tech team at JobsForHer.
I need co-founders in tech, okay? Please come.
Anybody interested, please contact us, because we are at 2.5 million women today. We need to be at 30 million women, and you'll need to be part of that journey. So, and of course, please come and mentor other women who also want to get into tech and product. So just get part of the ecosystem.
Not fair. You should have told me this first.
Fantastic. Thank you both. Love to have this. So many takeaways and a lot of building products, entrepreneurship and product management in action. Thank you so much.
Just hang in there, Seema. We would like to actually call upon a star among us. I know all of you are like champions, but there's one special call out for Moni Gupta. Can you just come on the stage, Moni? We just interacted, but I want you to come and just talk about what we were just talking. So, give her a shout out.
Absolutely, our rock star of the day. And while she is walking up, I'm going to use these 10 seconds to say, I was so happy to see her here, and we'll see why. I think we are also very shy to bring our wholesales to work and wholesales at home, and we are always in this whole, work-life balance, whatnot, this, that. But I'm so glad how beautifully she is doing it, and I think she is just running back to find her reason, so that we all exactly know, and you'll know soon why it can sometimes take time. But I think the more we bring our whole selves in whichever avatar that we are, that much more easy and fun it is. Extra PR time for me. Anything else that we want to give back? Any more job openings that we want to talk about, or anyone? Networking in action?
Don't look at Neha only, okay? I need co-founders for tech. I do not understand tech, okay? Wrong platform for me to be on, but right platform for you guys. I need tech co-founders. Please come.
But we all are users. So I think, absolutely, I'm absolutely going to talk about it.